Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Online Digital. This podcast is your weekly dose of fandom entertainment and knowledge. We will be interviewing a range of fans from all walks of life. This week we'll be listening to an extremely interesting audio statement by Elizabeth. She goes on to talk about her experiences with the Sims3.com and what stories she creates. She also goes on to talk about her popular Sims story blog, Today in the World of Sims. After, Elizabeth will go on to talk about her love for Doctor Who and shares her views on what the future of the show will be like. So, without further ado, here is Elizabeth's statement. Enjoy.
Okay, this is Elizabeth Lee Miller. My username is Seaweedy. I'm recording this from Irmo, South Carolina in the United States. And this recording is for Rachel Sweet. Okay, I'm going to talk about The Sims. I have been a member of the community of Sims in two ways. First, I was introduced to it by my best friend, and that was a few months before Sims 3 came out, so I would watch her play Sims 2 and was really fascinated. Then I purchased Sims 2 Double Deluxe, which is the base game and a stuff pack and an expansion pack all in one. I became an official member as Seaweedy when I registered my Sims 3 base game June 5th, 2009 and joined the Sims 3 website. It took a bit before I started posting, first with some questions and such, and then later I became a fixture in the Stories and Legacies section. The first family I ever played were the scientists in Strangetown who lived with Nervous Subject in Sims 2. I have looked it up on the Sims wiki, and the address is 1 Tesla Court, and the scientists were Loki and Cersei Beaker. Those two died of neglect fairly quickly, and I think before Nervous died off, I had decided to make my own Sims, and my very first one was Celtic Flower. Now in Sims 3, my first family I created myself, the Notorious, which leads me to what I create in Sims. I am a storyteller. I capture screenshots and create settings and characters and weave them into stories. My first and most enduring is the Notorious Legacy. It is loosely based on the Sims 3 Legacy Challenge, where you start with a founder and have 10 generations and follow some fairly strict rules. I threw most of the rules out, and I am on about the 4th generation. My goal is to finish before Sims 4 comes out. I became so interested in reading other Sims stories that I created a blog called Today in the World of Sims Stories. About 5 days a week, I update the blog by retelling in a couple of sentences the plot of a particular story, and I post a screenshot of the story. I have gotten nearly 60,000 hits on this blog, so I'm really proud of it. I feature about 80 stories. It requires lots of reading, but I enjoy it very much. I am familiar with some simming YouTube channels. I have watched A Little Machinima, which is Sims movie making, and some game playing sites where someone just videos themselves playing the games. It can be funny and give one ideas about how to play one's own game. I think Curtis Paradis is very enthusiastic, and I will watch some of his reviews. But when a new game comes out, I tend to want to discover as much about it on my own, so I don't like too many spoilers. I would love to see a YouTube channel where actual simmers who create things, stories, lots, Sims, Machinima, were interviewed. I'm not sure how that could be done, but it would be interesting to me. Okay, this is interview number 2. And this interview is also for Rachel Sweet. And the subject is Doctor Who. My first introduction to Doctor Who would have been watching repeats from the BBC on South Carolina's Education Television Network, which is my local subsidiary of the Public Broadcasting Network, a non-commercial TV station, and in fact the only one we have in the United States. My memory is vague, but I'm pretty sure it was Tom Baker as the Doctor. So that would have been in the late 70s or early 80s. I did not make a habit of watching it until the reboot. My friend would record the Christopher Eccleston series and get me to watch it, and I was like, this is interesting. But then, when the 10th Doctor started, I became absolutely smitten. That is the point I believe I became a true Whovian, and at the same time, a die-hard fan of the actor David Tennant. To the point that I recently paid $18 to see a film production of him appearing in a live version of Shakespeare's Richard II produced by the Royal Shakespeare Company. So, I also shelled out a fair amount to see The Day of the Doctor in the movie theater, and I'm glad I did. Money well spent in both cases. So you could say I'm a pretty big fan. The 10th Doctor is my favorite Doctor, and the actor who most exemplifies who and what the Doctor is. Though I have recently watched all of Tom Baker's series, and he is a close second. I am excited about Peter Capaldi's Doctor. I think it is time to get back to an older actor playing the role. It will bring a whole new range of experience to the character. And while I love Matt Smith's interpretation, he can be a little goofy sometimes, and I'm thinking Capaldi will be more serious maybe, and sterner, maybe a little scarier. My love for the show means I subscribe to Doctor Who channels on YouTube and watch clips, including a David Tennant channel, and I follow stuff related to the Doctor Who on Facebook and Twitter. I do purchase things here and there, and people give me gifts. I bought a t-shirt that I hope will be the first in a collection that I will add to monthly. In fact, I've already bought another one, so I have two at the start of my collection. There's a huge amount of Doctor Who t-shirts made by Blue Box Tees and Ripped Apparel and others, so I expect that collection to grow pretty large. I think that even though the Doctor Who mythology says a Time Lord can only regenerate 13 times, they will get around that somehow, because I think this show will go on forever. It is not just a hope because I love it so. It is just that the show has such broad appeal, and it taps into so many different things that people want out of entertainment. Action and adventure and science fiction, but a hope for a hero in a better world and all that. So yes, there will definitely be more than 12 Doctors. And that is the end of this interview. And that's my story. Okay, thanks a lot, Rachel.
No, thank you, Elizabeth, for taking time to record your stories about The Sims and Doctor Who. You have really put forward some seriously interesting information, and your statement was really interesting to listen to. Thank you so much for taking part. But until next time, my name is Rachel, and this has been Online Digital with Elizabeth.